What up, what up? Welcome into episode number 3 of Black and White Show. My name is Caroline, this is Terrance, and once again we are at Three Nations Brewing in Farmers Branch, which is right next to Carrollton, so
Yeah.
it's easier for me to find that way. Terrance, how's your week?
Where's that on the map?
It's a little northwest
Of Dallas?
northeast of Dallas.
Northwest.
Something. I've got that.
It'll probably be northwest. I think
don't
like
know.
Richardson is like north.
I use a GPS, so that's
me
that's
too,
my go-to.
obviously. So we're trying out some different audio this week, so bear with us on like if you hear any cracking or popping.
That means we're being too loud.
You're just our test subjects, honestly. We're trying to get you to come out here, because if you're out here, the audience here doesn't hear a lot of cracking or popping.
Yeah.
Isn't it right in the back? Everyone in the back. Yeah. See, we got a good crowd here tonight. But my week just went by really great.
Yeah.
A short week, and then I'm off later this week to head out of town for a couple of days, and I'm just really glad to be back here with you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. We got the black and white segment, of course. We're gonna start off with some Baylor talk, and then going into one of the topics I've been wanting to talk about forever, which is if college athletes should get paid or not. But first of all, we heard some news coming out of Waco last night that there was some drama. And Terrance, with any new coaching staff coming into a new school, transfers are going to happen. And that's going to be kids coming to or kids going away. So news from Waco last night. What storm is a brewing, as you tweeted?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
There's a lot of things that were going off on, social media accounts. There are a lot of things going off on message boards, and a lot of people trying to get find out questions and learn more and more things about what's happening in Waco. Obviously, with a new coach comes change.
Right.
The tide has changed in rules favor, which is definitely what it needs to be. The thing is that some people don't really flow well with that issue.
Right.
And there's some natural attrition. When I was at Houston, Browse was our coach my fall season, my freshman season. And then we got Sumlin in the spring. Sumlin's a great coach. He went on and done really great things at Houston, and then he transferred, and then he's obviously had some success at A&M. I didn't like the way Sumlin ran his program. Nothing against Sumlin or myself. We just were different. He wouldn't have been a guy I recruited. I wouldn't have been a guy. I wouldn't have been a guy he recruited, and he wouldn't have been a coach I wanted to play for.
Right.
And he's a great coach, and many people I know people that played at A&M that love him and like him still, and respect him. The thing that happened in Waco last night is a accumulation of several things. You're 0-5. A lot of guys are used to winning. No one likes losing. When you're winning, everyone's like, loving. I mean, Thanksgiving dinner tastes better when you're undefeated. When you're losing, you're watching a team that's just getting their head beat in week after week. I mean, you don't want to see anybody. You don't want to be around anybody. It's like, let's go watch the game. I don't want to do anything. And some of the issues that came up last night was, Terrance Williams, Baylor's leading rusher last year, 1,000-yard rusher, one of the best running backs in the Big 12. Him and the issue of whether he is, on the program or with the program. He Snapchatted some things last night that suggested that he didn't want to be with the program. Obviously, Rule, needs a guy like Terrance Williams. He's a leader. He's frustrated, temperature flaring, and then, he had the opportunity to come back. I don't know how that plays. I think Terrance Williams knows he's on a short lease. I don't know how that plays out when other people see players like that get a second chance.
Right.
Because then you have that Johnny Manziel effect where A&M let Johnny Manziel run wild, and then after he left, they try to rein in a lot of those, characters they had on the team, and ultimately they kicked a lot of guys off. One of those guys, Ish Wilson, came to Baylor, and he's no longer with the program, as well as Jordan Blake. A lot of things happening in the off week.
Right.
Rule wants to win. Guys wants to win. They want to, score points. They want to do it a lot like what they have been able to do over the past few years. We'll see how that story continues to play out. I know one thing. Every one of these, no, that's next for you. But I know one thing. Every one of these student athletes or these football players, they need to understand that when there's one heartbeat in the locker room, and when there is some kind of rhythmic problem with the heartbeat of your team, a surgeon has to go in and fix that. What Rule did last night or today with those two players, he had to get rid of some people that were causing some unhealthy issues to present on Baylor's football team internally. Now, what that leads to is everyone getting a clear-cut picture of, do we really want to follow this man and play for this man? Are we all on board, or we want to go against the grain? And I think we saw last night of people really saying, hey, let's go fight and win some games for this guy. I mean, Zach Smith was all over. He said he wanted to go grab a burrito at Allsup's. So I didn't even know Allsup's sold burritos, and I probably would question his taste buds after that burrito. But that's one of the things that Baylor's talking about, Baylor Nation's talking about, and as we can discover more and more problems internally if we keep losing. Now, once we win a few games, everybody's kind of relaxed around each other.
Cloud nine.
Yeah, but right now it's just everybody's walking on glass floors.
Yeah, so we'll watch that, see how it goes. Baylor with a bye this week, so it will kind of,
one thing I wanted to do, I wanted to apologize for breaking that story as well. I know there was a lot of information that I was gathering last night, and I just want to set the record straight. There's some of the things that I probably should, run by.
Watch your tongue.
Run by and run by, some of the coaches just to verify some of these issues or some of these things. Obviously, I was ahead of the gun, but sometimes you see that when you're talking about media reporting things. You always want to be the first one on the scene. And last night that backfired, and people in the stands are holding up.
Keep calm and suck up.
holding up shirts saying.
So applicable.
I need to put that on actually. But awesome. Thank you. But anyway, let's talk about next segment, which is going to have me even more animated.
Gonna have to keep myself cool and Terrance cool during this because I want to get into it with everything going on with college basketball right now. It's a hot topic of
show me the money.
Should student athletes be paid or should they not? I am on the side of you are a student athlete. You are at college to get an education and you're playing sports. And if you're good enough, you'll go on to the professional level. But these are amateur sports. It's not a professional sport. If anything, you're overly blessed to get part of your education, your room, your board covered. Plus meals. They get unlimited, I know Baylor athletes get unlimited meal plans now. I'm not saying you want to eat at a cafeteria for every single meal of your week, but the bank is very nice.
It is nice. I've been in there.
My points are majority of athletic programs do not turn a profit. Once you reduce everything out, travel expenses, washing
revenue
your jerseys,
minus expenses.
Once you factor everything in, so few of schools actually make a profit. And so it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to pay these players when you're not even making profits.
Are you done?
You can start.
I'm not done. I agree with your notion that we are students first, athletes second.
No, you're backwards.
No, that's how I was taught. When I stepped foot on a college campus, that's how I was taught. That you are a student first, athlete second.
No.
So in saying that, student athletes by far, and let me retract my statement. Men's football, men's basketball should be paid. It is modern day slavery when you think about what slaves were able to have food, they had porch, they had a home, they had room and board, they had all that.
So, but the women, they don't get paid. they can still have
Oh,
modern day
I'm talking about
slavery.
slaves. Every slave was treated different. I mean the same.
And you're comparing that to college athletics.
Yeah, men's basketball.
So any other team besides men's football and men's basketball, you're going to be treated like a modern day slave.
One of the reasons why college athletes will not get paid is because of Title IX.
Yeah.
The equal whatever. I don't even know what it means. Honestly, there's a lot of things going on with Title IX right now with the Secretary of Education or whatever her name, Betsy DeVos. Athletes should be paid. Modern day slavery, go back to that. What other industry do you see people going out getting the biggest, fastest, strongest person for their talents and not paying them?
It's college.
And
it's not professional.
It's $1 billion industry.
It's not. You're not.
It is
a
professional.
pro athlete.
When you have coaches making 4, 5, 6, 7, Nick Saban's scheduled to make $11 million this year.
Okay, so then let me tell you this. So baseball, you're not saying pay baseball players, but if you start paying college baseball players, is this not the minor leagues?
Baseball can go straight from high school to the pros if they're good enough.
It makes zero sense to say you can only pay men's basketball and men's college and football.
This has created a loophole in the system. Athletes are getting paid. Athletes are getting paid because athletic departments want a certain student athlete, and they have a value for that certain student athlete. And they get on the phone, they text, and they have these bat phones that they throw in the trash when they're walking by Torchy's getting tacos, just like my man Sean in the audience. They want a player, and they're going to get a player. That's the whole thing with the basketball and the Adidas thing. It's all. I think the media is trying to show us what we want to see.
Yeah.
Because if you can go out there and get Louisville without touching Kentucky, who we know, as everyone in the nation knows, Kentucky's playing their basketball players, and you go arrest Louisville's assistant coach, fire their head coach, and not say anything to Calipari across the state. There's some issues there. Those athletes are being paid at Kentucky. I don't have any evidence, but everybody knows Kentucky's paying their athletes. You're not getting those star-studded players year after year making it to the Final Fours, winning national championships without paying somebody. And he's in there. He's good with high school coaches, all these elite prep.
So do you get tired of Kentucky being good?
No, I don't. I like their business model.
Because you know what's really annoying to watch now? The NBA, because they're superstar teams and they're not fun to watch anymore, and that's what's going to happen if you start paying college players. You know,
I agree with that. When I was with the St. Louis Rams, we lost to Detroit, and we should have beat Detroit. After hindsight 2020, we didn't have a really good football team, so maybe we shouldn't have beat Detroit. But we should have beat Detroit, and I remember getting on the plane just sick. I didn't play a down, and I was like, man, we should have beat Detroit. And I looked over, and a guy looked at me and said, you won't feel bad after Wednesday. So Wednesday in the NFL, we got paid. And that's when I knew that the game had totally changed for me, and it was just a business transaction. Yeah. You pay me, I go out there and I perform. When I say college athletes should get paid, or men's basketball and college football should get paid, I don't mean in the form of checks and just paying these guys tens of thousands of dollars. I think college athletes should be able to brand themselves and market off their likeness. Yeah. I also think there should be incentives to where college athletes can get paid more money. So if you go out there and you have 10 sacks, for 10 sacks you get this. Also should be incentives for getting great grades. You go win national championship, there's an incentive. College coaches get paid for having a certain GPA on the team.
That's true.
So why can't athletes get paid for it? If a certain
I forgot about that.
These coaches are getting paid by the school for athletes getting.
Which is why athletes always pick general studies.
I was a general study major, but I got an MBA in healthcare administration. So, long story, different argument. 401k. I understand like the business side of it, revenue minus expenses equals profit, net profit, or net loss. I understand the business model is that if you do this, you have to create 401ks. You got to create insurance, all these benefits that cost millions of dollars. In places like Baylor, where Baylor has their own insurance, that will increase costs for athletes at Baylor. Some athletes, I mean, you have all these monopolies with Blue Cross Blue Shield and United Healthcare and some of these other things that happens, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with all this FBI stuff and as they continue to turn out more information. But I would like to see college men and men's basketball,
Men.
men and men get paid.
Oh, okay.
But Title IX won't let that happen.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't like to see that, so
Why?
we just went over.
Modern slavery. Modern slavery.
So figure out a plan for the rest of the student athletes to not have modern slavery, and then we can talk.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
So moving on to hype or no hype. There's been lots of discussion about a three-peat. Three-peat being, ooh, some thunder. I like storms. I like storms, and there's a big garage up in here, and so I can see it right now.
I might fall asleep with storms.
Let's go.
Just those
Okay, hype or no hype. Three-peat with Alabama versus Clemson. There's been talk about that. Both of them obviously in the number 1 and number 2 spots. The first college football playoff seeding is going to be October 31st, which is a Tuesday, so hopefully we'll be able to chat about that. But in my opinion, I do believe that there is a strong possibility that these two teams could make it to the college football playoffs again and compete against one another for the title.
Yeah. No, I think how it sits now, Clemson and Alabama are by far the two best teams in the nation.
Yeah.
When you think about what Clemson has done early in the season, 5 games in September, the first month of football. They go on the road and beat Auburn, number 13 Auburn. They were at home against Auburn, I believe. But they go on the road to beat no, they were at home against Louisville. They go on the road to beat Auburn by 8. They go, and Auburn was number 13.
Right.
They come home to play Louisville, and they blank Louisville. I know Lamar Jackson still has some late scores, but they beat a very good Louisville team. And then they just came off a really big win against Virginia Tech last week.
On the road.
And these are 3 good quarterbacks. Jarrett Stidham, Josh Jackson, and Lamar Jackson are really 3 good quarterbacks. They probably can start anywhere in the country.
Right.
And they stopped them. They shut them down. And, I mean, I just think Clemson is a really, really good team. And Alabama is doing exactly what they have to do against opponents. Alabama, they haven't played anyone really yet.
But they're outscoring opponents. Lost 3 games, or against its 3 Power 5 opponents, outscored them 149 to 10. I mean, they're absolutely dominating anyone they're playing right now. They're not ranked opponents, but they're handling by all means.
I think the hardest schedule moving forward, Auburn has, not Auburn, but Clemson has, they go to North Carolina State, who has a big game this weekend against Louisville. And then they go to Florida State, and then they're at South Carolina at the end of the year. Obviously, there is a lot of tension in the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, and that game's at the end of the year. So we'll see. I think Alabama has the tougher schedule on out because they're about to get into the thick of the SEC play. But these are really 2 really, really good
and who wouldn't want a 3-peat? Because game 1, we have Alabama recovering an onside kick to win the game.
Yeah.
Game 2, we've got Clemson freaking scoring the last second. Sean Watson just trying it in. Yeah. So, hey, if it's a 3-peat, I am all for it because
and we like it as fans.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what the NBA has done with the Warriors and the Cavaliers. Like, I don't want to see them play again.
Yeah.
But it's still an entertaining series, and I think it'll be an entertaining match if we see Clemson and Alabama again. And if you don't want them in there, go beat them. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Don't complain about it. Go beat them.
Believing the hype, nonetheless, of Alabama versus Clemson for a 3-peat.
Yeah, for sure.
Our next 2 for hype or no hype are the top 2 top rushers in college football. So we've got number 2, Rashad Penny from San Diego State, and then we've got Bryce Love from Stanford. So we'll go with number 2 right now. Believing in his hype or no, he is his 4th consecutive Mountain West Conference Player of the Week.
I believe the hype.
dominating.
He's dominating at South Dakota State. No, San Diego State. I'm tripping. San Diego State. He's playing really well. He's their bell cow. He knows how to make big plays. He's explosive. I like him a lot, and I'm gonna believe the hype of him and Bryce Love. Bryce Love is
averaging 11.1 yards per rush.
I did that in college. No, like me, Lanier Sampson, Terrance Williams, Jerry Luby, we played. You know, it's crazy. We played NCAA before they had to pay athletes for it because they were using athletes' likeness to sell a video game. But we used to always play with Clemson for some reason, and so we created ourselves on the game. And I'm sure I rushed by 11.1.
On the video.
But like 99 stats. Bryce Love is the fourth fastest player to 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And he just broke Christian McCaffrey's single game rushing record last week for 301 yards against Arizona State. So the guy's playing at a high level. Stanford is a one-trick pony. They always have been outside of Andrew Luck, but they always have a running back that carries that team, and they have a defense that can hold up.
But Bryce loves that dude.
I like him. He's a big-time player.
And he is fast as all get out. He could have gone anywhere in the country for a track scholarship.
Yeah.
I mean, he is explosive.
We got some explosive guys. I mean, and I know we talked about
Shaquan Barkley.
Last week.
Oh, he's so fun to watch.
He kicked off the game with a touchdown return, and the guy is he's electrifying. He can take over a game at any moment, and obviously, I can only imagine college NFL coaches are just drooling for the opportunity to get some of these guys to play and stay healthy.
Absolutely.
As their career progresses at college.
So believe in the hype, all of it. On to Pass the Sticks now. And I know they have been in our Pass the Sticks segments for
a few times. Yeah, a few times.
But man, I saw something today that said LOLSU because they keep getting more comical and more comical. So this week they had Troy in, paid them nearly $100,000 to come to Death Valley.
No. 1,985,000.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Almost $1 million to come down to Death Valley just to get a whooping.
Troy.
So
Troy University tweets.
Oh yeah.
After the game. Do you have that tweet?
Yeah.
So what did they tweet?
Hey LSU, thanks for having us down for homecoming. We really enjoyed it. Smiley face emoji.
I think it was a giggly face emoji. Yeah. I think it was like the one like laughing but not crying, laughing. And then some people like Troy wants Bama.
Yeah.
And then a player from Troy's like, hey, y'all come down. Like, we're gonna ride this win.
Yeah.
We do not want
We're
Bama.
gonna celebrate, but we don't want Bama.
Yeah. Which leads us to our next game against Ole Miss.
Alabama. We were saying Alabama has totally dominated
3 points?
its opponents. But the thing that is funny to me is 2015, Ole Miss won. So then 2016, Ole Miss only lost by 3. So Ole Miss has this like silent vendetta that they think that they have Alabama's number. So to get just a field goal and lose by 63 points was super comical, and pass your sticks, Ole Miss.
Yeah, pass your sticks, and LSU. If you're on this segment again, I promise you, I don't care how many games y'all win. The rest of the year, you will not be on our show.
Yeah.
So please step your game up and go home.
Get it together. Oh, interesting.
Well, we got to clean up some stuff later.
All right, headed into our matchups of the week. First of all, like we mentioned before, but we've got Louisville and North Carolina State. This game is going to be super interesting because North Carolina State is hungry.
And they're favored.
Yeah.
They're favored in a game that Louisville is ranked higher in. So this makes for great live TV. We're in a rainstorm. But Louisville has, obviously you have Lamar Jackson.
Right.
And he's playing great. You have Ron Finley, who's playing great at North Carolina State. I think this matchup is going to be really something on who finishes second in the ACC.
Yeah.
And this game is actually Thursday night, so we'll get a good game going into a really loaded weekend of great college games.
Yeah. So who are you picking?
I'm going with LSU. Not LSU. I said I'll never
Carolina.
mention them again. Louisville. I'm going with Louisville because I just don't think North Carolina State has played. Their only losses against South Carolina. I don't think they played the offense good enough to stop Lamar Jackson if he truly takes over the game.
Gotcha.
That's what I got.
Fair enough. We'll head into our Big 12 matchups of the week. We have got. Oh my goodness.
You want to sit on this
I
side?
need a ponytail.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Texas at K-State first. Texas at K-State? I don't know who's home in this one,
No,
actually.
K-State is going to...
It's going to Austin.
Yeah, it's going to Austin.
All right.
And you don't... Yeah, I think they're going to Austin, right?
Yeah, that's right. But you're thinking about picking Texas.
I am going to pick Texas. They're in Austin. I'm picking them to lose. See, that's what happened. You get a part. You become a part of the show when you get here. I'm picking. I know. Wayne is over here talking about me picking Oklahoma State to get beat by Texas Tech. 94 defensive end from Texas Tech has one job. Is to watch the quarterback hand the ball off. Mason Rudolph does not hand the ball off. Number 94 chases a running back that does not have the ball. Mason Rudolph scores, wins the game. You have one job, bro. And so Wayne does win that one. I think I owe him a beer. So round of shots on me. But I do have Texas winning.
Against K-State?
No, I have Texas losing.
Yeah,
for sure.
I try to credit them that they're. Oh my goodness.
So we might have to cut this short, but let's go to the next few. Texas Tech is going to beat Kansas for sure. Oklahoma State is going to beat. Definitely is going to beat Iowa State. I mean, Oklahoma's going to beat Iowa State because it is. I mean, Iowa State's quarterback play last week was the worst I've ever seen in a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
I mean, Baylor had 3 running backs in 2015 that could play quarterback better than what Iowa State did. And then who else we have?
We got TCU and West Virginia. And this game's going to be a violent game to watch. College Game Day will be there, and TCU has played 5 games with College Game Day. It's been there.
Yeah, we're going we said that this is going to be one of the shows that, audio is going to be a little different. We have special effects. Obviously, you've seen that. And, I mean, we're just enjoying.
I just really enjoyed the look of wind blowing through my hair.
I know.
That was nice.
I love it. I mean,
thank you. Nice touch.
I need a shave because my hair is kind of like blowing.
Is it blowing in the wind?
A little bit.
Okay, now we can discuss TCU. We closed the garage door. Thank you, Gil.
So what we got?
So TCU has played in 5 games when College Day has been there. Guess what? They've won every one. One of those being College Game Day when they were at West Virginia in 2016.
That was a tough game.
Yeah.
That was a tough game. And I think TCU 2016?
Hey.
Or was it 20?
It's either 2015 or 2016.
2014. Was it a year that we went? Because I know Baylor went there, and that was the year that TCU and Baylor both were 11-1.
Some years,
I don't know how. I can't remember how great TCU finished.
Regardless to say, that TCU gets up when College Game Day is there. They get amped. They get prepared, and I wouldn't expect them to do anything unless against West Virginia at home.
Gary Patterson takes care, makes sure their guys are ready to play defense.
Yeah. He said last week he loves having experienced defensive players because he just feels like he uses them as chess pieces.
So I think the better quarterback in this, and audience, let me know if I'm wrong, Will Grier is a better quarterback for West Virginia than Kenny Hills. Kenny Hill is for TCU. I think the better running back, Darius Anderson, is really, really good. But the most consistent and better running back, I believe, it has to go to Justin Crawford. He's rushed for 100 yards in 4 straight games. TCU hasn't given up 100 yards rushing all year long. So that's interesting to see how well they defend the run against two of the best running backs in the Big 12 this year. And then,
but if you can contain Mason Rudolph and company, you can contain Will
Mason Rudolph had 3 turnovers.
He did, but I mean,
and they had one where they touched the ball on a kick that they was going to get. A guy runs down there.
Mason Rudolph.
I know. I mean, TCU did what they needed to do in Stillwater and won in a very, very tough place. I want to give this game to TCU solely because Gary Patterson was off last week.
Yeah.
And
they were both off.
I trust Gary Patterson's game plan and preparation over Dana Holgerson's game plan and preparation for this matchup. It'll be a great game. I look forward to watching it. TCU, I think some of the people think that Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are the Big 12, horses that you want to lead this conference to the playoffs. TCU and Oklahoma are starting to separate themselves. Texas Tech is still playing in there. Oklahoma State still playing in there, but I think this big, Baylor's still playing in the Big 12 conference, but that's about it. We'll see more and more from this TCU team as the year goes on, but this is a tough test this weekend for TCU and Gary Patterson in the Horned Frogs.
Yeah. Well, we kind of expedited that, and now we're under control.
Student first.
Student athlete.
Athlete second.
Student
always.
Athlete.
Yeah. You still got to pay me. Show me the money.
Well, when you go pro.
These athletes are living poor.
So was I.
You can go get a job.
I did. I had 20.
You should have got one job that gave you more time, but we don't have that luxury.
Baylor soccer player Bridget, she had a job.
Bridget, shout out Bridget.
You can Uber.
Bridget, we are at 3 Nations. Look forward to seeing you next week.
I'm gonna tell Bridget she's coming.
Yeah, she is coming.
I'll tell her to.
Oh,
she's at SMU left. She'll holler.
Oh, she probably studying. She's probably reading why athletes shouldn't, and she's probably listen. I'm gonna get a lawyer that will come up here, and then we're gonna debate that on the opposite end of the spectrum. So, thanks again for people that came out.
Magical night with the storm.
Yeah, a magical night. I know y'all love Caroline's hair and Caroline. I'm not allowed to say Caroline all the time. My aunt name is Caroline, and I always say that, but Caroline. Caroline.
Okay, we're going to go now.
Yeah, we're going to go. Listen, thank you. Audio is going to be something we're going to work on. We're starting getting slow claps, and special effects is one of the things that we just cannot control. Doug, next time, Doug, get on this. So thanks y'all again. Y'all have a great one.